Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today's video is going to be products I have hit pan on. This is an ongoing series on my channel. I like to film these videos every so often as I hit new pans within my collection. My last video like this was back in February, and since then I have hit 7 new pans. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first one is a blush, and blushes are notoriously difficult for me to hit pan on. This is the Milani Powder Blush in Romantic Rose. This was quite a feat because this is such a massive amount of blush here. I've talked about this several times, but it's 17 grams, which is just huge. And I finally hit pan on this in my project pan earlier this year. This blush is interesting because it is actually hollow. I don't know if you can tell, but it's hollow. So I'm not really sure what's gonna happen as I continue to use this up. I'm probably gonna have to repress it so that it's flat in the pan. Otherwise, I'm sure it's probably gonna start to crumble. This is also the oldest blush in my collection, so I'm happy to finally have some pan showing on it. But it's still probably gonna be a very long time before I actually finish this up completely. They do actually sell minis of this blush on their website, so if you're wanting this blush but you don't want to commit to such a huge blush, I would recommend that one. And I do wonder if those minis are also hollow. If anybody knows, I'd be curious. So next we have some eyeshadow pans. So I have hit an additional pan in my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette since last time. I think in my last products I've hit pan on video, I showed that I'd hit pan on both Vermeer and Primavera. Now I've also hit pan on Tempera, which is one of the most used shades for me in this palette, so it makes sense that I've now hit pan on it. But I have found that, at least for me, shimmers are a lot easier for me to hit pan on than mattes, especially with the Anastasia formula. It is a very soft formula. I think Anastasia's shadows are known to be a little bit easier to hit pan on than some other brands, but I am happy to have a third pan in here, and I would like to eventually hit pan on some more shades. I think I'm also close to hitting pan on Golden Ochre, and I'm thinking I'm going to make this my 1 month 1 palette for one of these upcoming months, so hopefully I can start to see even more pans soon. And then another Anastasia shadow that I've hit pan on recently is in Subculture. I hit pan on the shade Dawn, while this was actually my 1 month 1 palette in September. That is also one of my most used shades in this palette. It is just kind of a, for me, it's like a matte transition color. It's like a light warm beige, so I use it almost every time I use this palette. And this is a very, very soft formula, so the lighter shades I do feel like are easier to hit pan on, while the darker shades in here, I don't know that I'll ever hit pan on because they are so pigmented that I just like barely tap my brush in those. And I've used them a lot, but there's like barely any dip in there. So I also, I think, am close to hitting pan on Electric, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. I have also hit pan on my favorite highlighter. This is Becca Champagne Pop. I do have the mini size. It still took me a while to hit pan on this, considering that it is one of my favorites. I use it a ton, but I now have major pan on this, and this is something that I feel like I will eventually use up, maybe even without having it in a project pan. Some products I kind of just use up naturally without ever feeling like I need to put them in a project pan, and I feel like this could be one of those products. I may decide to put it in a project pan eventually, but yeah, this is such a lovely highlighter. This formula totally lives up to the hype for me. It's an intense highlighter, like it really does show up on your cheeks, and it looks, you know, you can tell you're wearing a highlighter when you wear it, but it also is just so smooth. There's just something about it that just looks so buttery smooth. I love it. Another highlighter that I've hit pan on is actually one of the ColourPop Super Shock cheek highlighters in the shade Monster. This is a duochrome white with like a pinkish red shift, similar to actually the shade Cube in Subculture, if you're familiar with that. It's like a very similar kind of frosty white with like a reddish pink shift. This is, I feel like, kind of the highlighter version of that shade, and I like it because it doesn't look too frosty. I mean, it almost looks white in the pan, but that white base doesn't really show up on my cheeks. It's a very sheer base, but that really pretty pinkish duochrome shift is subtle, but it still makes a statement, and that's what I love about this highlighter. It's something different, but it doesn't look like, whoa, like you're wearing a crazy metallic holographic glittery highlight on your cheeks, you know, so I love that. Some people have told me that they use Cube in Subculture as a highlighter. I've tried that before, and it just looks way too frosty and white on my cheeks. So if that's you and you want to be able to use that as a highlighter, this is a great option because it gives that same effect without looking too white and frosty. Okay, so next we have one that I've actually already repressed, but I have hit major pan on this. This is the Physicians Formula Healthy Powder. I actually just recently shared a tutorial on my channel of how I repress powder products. So if you're curious as to how I do that, I'll link that below, but this is one of the products that I showed me repressing in that video. But before that, if you saw, it was basically just like a ring around the edges. So I'll show a picture of how much pan was in this before. This will be done very soon. I honestly don't love this powder. I think it can look a little bit heavy and powdery on my skin, and I kind of prefer powders that don't look like powder, you know? So not my favorite. I have to use a pretty light hand with it. So I'm excited to be done with it, but at the same time, it's also, like, it's fine. Like, it's just a powder. I love the Healthy Foundation that is also part of the Healthy line, but I don't love the powder as much as I love that foundation. And finally, this one's kind of different, but I have also hit pan on the Paula's Choice Lip and Body Treatment Balm. So this is a lip balm that I use just about every single night, and this is my favorite lip balm that I have found. It has like no flavor and no fragrance, so it feels very just kind of no nonsense, no frills. This is the lip balm that I put on before I go to bed at night, and in the morning, my lips look visibly plumper than normal. Like, it almost sort of smooths out the lines in my lips and just makes my lips look so healthy and plump. It's a temporary effect. It's not like it's actually making my lips permanently plumper, but the ingredients in here are just so nourishing and hydrating, and I never really have chapped lips as long as I'm using this every night. I will say though, it's not vegan. It does have both beeswax and lanolin in it, so if you are strictly vegan with your beauty products, then you would want to avoid this one. But I love it. It is also a really, really good value. I think it's like $15 for half an ounce. And Paula's Choice is kind of known for being a little bit more expensive, but I feel like that's a really, really good value for a lip balm that's gonna last you a very long time, and it just does an amazing job. So had to give that a shout out in this video. So those are all 7 of the products that I have hit pan on in the last several months this year. I'll also link below my playlist of all the products I've hit pan on, videos that I've done on my channel so far, if you want to watch more like this. But if you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you again very soon, and hopefully I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.